Joining me right now is multiple-time Muay Thai and kickboxing champion Melody Downs. Thank you, Melody, for the time. You are days away from fighting in this 8-women tournament. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, feeling good, eh? Yeah, as I was saying before, I'm in the midst of cutting weight at the moment. So, yeah, yeah, it's all go ahead.
You have the Fight Dietitian working with you on your weight cuts and your diet, and is that something that you've always had, or when did you add that to your team?
I reached out to Jordan. Actually, it'll be coming up on a year now, so end of last year in December. Um, I reached out to him because I'd been fighting at a heavier weight, so 66 kg was my normal fight weight. But we sort of felt that 63.5 or lower than a weight class I would be better for me from an international standpoint. So in order to do that, we wanted to make sure that we were adopting the right strategies and doing it in a healthy way, because we'd sort of done it on our own, trying to get to that weight on our own just ended up being really terrible, like disastrous weight cuts, so unhealthy, spending hours and hours in the sauna and then feeling terrible on fight night. So we wanted to make sure we were doing the right thing. And, I was looking through Instagram and this guy kept popping up, Jordan.
Yeah.
And, I could see that he was working with some of the best fighters around, Israel, some of the other CKB boys and, other UFC champs. And I thought, well, I'll give him a go and see how it goes. And for the whole year, this past whole year has been just amazing working with him, and feeling very privileged to have him on board and for him to be providing all this knowledge that's allowed us to do this in a way that's really healthy and isn't coming at the detriment of performance. So yeah, really, really blessed in that regard.
I actually was able to, or fortunate enough to meet Jordy in China of all places, and sat down and talked with him. And he's a scientist. He's not like he's a dietitian, but he's a scientist. Like, he knows the science of it. It's pretty crazy. It goes over my head. Like, I don't understand most of it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sort of the same. I'm like, oh yeah, you do the thinking, I'll just do the doing, sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just do the eating, right?
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was looking, through your social media, and I came across this photo of the 10 championship belts that you have. It's very rare to see someone with that much hardware. Which one are you most proud of?
Oh, it's a hard one. Probably, I think the there's a WK Intercontinental belt in there that I fought for in Korea a few years back. I feel like because that's the one that carries the most weight. I feel like I'm the proudest of that. But I feel like every fight and every opportunity has its own. It carries its own reward with it. So yeah, it's hard to pick just one, but I would say that one carries more weight for me.
Okay. Which one was the hardest to capture? Like, overall, like training camp, the fight, everything.
Oh man, I feel like they're all hard in a way. There's one there that's not in there. It's actually a medal from the world champs. I feel like that one
Okay.
was the hardest for me to get because, you know, it was the first time I've ever fought in a world championship tournament before, and I was up against, um, people from the Netherlands, France, Sweden, and they're all very strong competitors. So being able to fight those really strong, good fighters and then come out with a medal on top of that was, yeah, it was a hard road to get there, but it was very rewarding as well.
Definitely. Now, I wanted to go back to your last fight. It was last August, the WKBK or BF New Zealand title. You defeated what is it? Caitlin Tucker, right? Overall assessment of that performance.
Um, to be fair, because I'm a perfectionist, I wasn't happy with my performance. Like I felt like even though we came away with the win, there were some things that I felt I should have done a bit better. So I came away from that having learnt more. And it's the same with every fight, you come away, win or lose, learning something. So I've gone back into the gym and just worked harder to try and, up my game on my performance. Because, yeah, you're fighting this next fight, but I'm thinking ahead, I'm thinking about international world stage performances. And for me, I want to be at that level. So it's always pushing more and more every time, every fight to be better every day. So, yeah.
Of course, the drive, right? The motivation, because you do have medals and like I just mentioned, the 10 belts. Some people could, or some fighters could just get complacent and think like, oh man, I've accomplished enough.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard not to fall into that mindset as well, because it does happen. Like, and I've been here a few times as well. Thought, oh yeah, I've got these accolades. Do I really need to push further? But I think when you get into that mindset, you set up sort of trap for yourself. It becomes a dangerous space to be in. I mean, if you want to be the best, you have to keep pushing with everything you have, with every fiber of your being, both physically and mentally. So, yeah, that's been the goal, just to be better every day, no matter what.
Before the COVID happened, I felt like you were on the verge of just fighting internationally, just going out and more, competition maybe in North America or, where else in Europe and stuff like that. But because of this, you have to stay in your home country. Do you feel like somewhat has it been a blessing, even though you don't get to go internationally, but you get to stay home and kind of like focus and not worry about that?
Yeah, I mean, this year was meant to be the year of international fights for us, but yeah, obviously with COVID, it's devastated the world and the fight community, and so I am really grateful and fortunate that I've even had the opportunity to fight this year, because with our country being in lockdown like many other countries around the world, for a lot of us, we didn't think that we'd be able to even fight at all. So yeah, being able to actually have a few fights under the belt this year has been really, I'm very blessed to be able to do that.
Yeah, and gain more experience. So when you do go back out there overseas, it's a different version of you.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the plan. Yeah.
definitely. Well, let's talk about it. Vendetta, Queen of Muay Thai. It's the first time you're fighting in a 8 women tournament in one night. I know you fought in the past, multiple days, multiple fights. But what are the nerves like? Is it any different from previous competitions?
It's a bit hard because in previous competitions, you know who you're fighting. You're training for that person and everything is centered on a particular strategy. But for this, because you don't know who you're fighting till the day of the weigh-in, it's hard to get super nervous about it. But we've been training really, really hard, and I have faith in the process. So I feel confident that no matter who we're up against, it's going to be a good fight.
For training, how have you switched things up to prepare yourself better for a long night of fights?
So we've focused on training hard for blocks and having breaks in between those blocks, because in an 8-person tournament, you're fighting and then you cool right down and then you got to go fight again. So it's learning how to deal with cooling down, warming back up again, but also managing injuries between that, any injuries that you sustain from any fights that you have that night. So we've been focusing on that and just drumming in the fitness and, being prepared for anything, as well as extension rounds, that sort of thing. So the training time periods are a little bit longer than what we'd normally put in for just a 1-person fight. So yeah, it's been a bit of a hard journey, but I think that the preparation is it's all in line. for this weekend.
Who are the people in your training camp that you could give love to? You know what I mean? Because they've been helping you they've been in the trenches with you.
Oh man, I feel like my whole team plays a part. You
Mm.
know, when you go into a fight, yes, it's just you performing in the end, but there's a whole bunch of people that have helped you get there. So, my crew, the Team Downs crew, my training partners, the guys in the gym who beat me up all the time, my coaches, Cody and Mike. They've put a lot of time and energy into me, and for coaches, it's often a thankless job, but I'm really appreciative of the time and energy that they've put into me. Yeah.
You have a few familiar faces in the tournament. Is it more who can have that element of surprise when you enter the fight, or is it more of like, can you dominate with your style because you know some of these fighters? You've been in, training with them, and I think you've competed with one or two of them. Have you in the past?
Yeah, so I've well, two of them are actually my friends, and one of them I've fought before. So, and then there's three others that I haven't come up against yet. But yeah, I think it's anyone's game. Like you can expect someone to come out with a certain style, but they might be completely different on the night. So it really just comes down to what happens in those moments in the ring, and what you do and how you respond and how you fight. So I think just focusing on that, for us is what we're leaning towards in terms of this weekend.
Stylistically, who do you think are the best matchups for you?
I'd have to say there's a few of them actually. So Gentian Lupi is one who has been, a top female competitor for a number of years in this country now, and she's fought some top international opponents as well. There's also an Australian in the mix, Nicola, I forget her last name, Nicola Cavender, I think her name is. Yeah, she's a top Aussie champ. So she's coming in. I know she'll come in guns blazing. Mel Mack, even though we've fought before, she's got really good timing. As well as there's a young up-and-comer, Maka Jean, who is a black belt taekwondo competitor, and she's got a really interesting and good style. So, but all the girls at the end of the day have their strengths. Yeah, it just depends on who we are matched up against, really.
You would most likely be considered one of the favorites. Who do you feel is maybe the dark horse?
Oh, I feel like one of my friends, Miriam Teal, could be a dark horse. She retired and then she came back recently, but she's one of those people who will just not relent. And I'm interested to see how she goes, because I feel like she could be a dark horse in the competition.
If you have a choice to face someone, I'm pretty sure you got this question before, but it's a good question. If you have a choice to face someone in the finals because you have a relationship with some of the other competitors, who would it be?
Oh, again, it is a hard thing to answer, but I'll probably be a toss between Jintian or Nicola, just purely because I feel like they're two of the top females in the competition, and I'd really like the opportunity to mix it up with them. And if you want to be the best, you got to fight the best. So that's the name of the game. Yeah.
And a perfect night would be going there and knock everybody out in 10 seconds, right?
That would be the perfect night. Yeah.
I'm thinking every fighter is that if they ever entered a tournament, they'd be like, making history just by going in their first strike knockout, and then it's over every fight. It'd just be no damage, nothing. You're ready to fight next week.
Yeah, that would be great if it worked out like that.
Yeah. But you end up getting in these wars eventually, right? In those types of tournaments in one night.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've seen so many eight people tournaments, and like I've seen some real back and forth fights. Like those are the ones that make the crowd
Yeah.
excited. So hopefully we can do the same this weekend.
Definitely get the back and forth, win them, not take that
Yeah.
much damage, go to the next fight. I feel like the damage is the most important. Like, if you don't, if even if you don't get in a good fight, a good scrap, you just don't take that damage, and then you go to the like an injury, like like let's say you fractured your arm or something. I think that would be something that you would not want to have on a night like this. But there's no way to forecast anything. You're just going in there and fight, right? So game planning wise, has it been difficult, or is it just like, no, I'm just focused on myself?
Um, I'm pretty focused, but I've fought before with real bad injuries, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not anything new. And I
Mm-hmm.
reckon as long as I can hide it, if anything terrible does happen, I mean, knock on wood,
Mm-hmm.
if anything terrible does happen, I'll probably just hide it and then keep
Mm-hmm.
going. Yeah, I think unless I'm, unconscious, then I won't stop.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's what makes you different from everybody else. Because someone else gets injured, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys tomorrow." Right? That's me. That'll be me. That's what makes me different from you. Now, you get in there, you go through the tournament, and then what's the plans after that? Do you have fights lined up for 2021? Do you have a fight lined up for December? I don't. What's going on?
I'll probably just have a short break after this fight,
Mm-hmm.
just to let the body recover and settle things down. But I don't have anything planned next year just yet. Sort of seeing how this COVID situation unfolds. Hoping that things settle down a little bit so that we can go overseas. But yeah, I'm just playing it by ear and seeing what comes up. Uh, yeah, maybe even have a go at MMA. Who knows?
Yeah, that was my next question is MMA gonna be something that you look at to maybe mix in there while you're fighting Muay Thai?
Yeah, I think possibly like there's a strong possibility only because there's the pool in New Zealand for Muay Thai is really small.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if we can't travel, then we're going to have to find other ways of fighting. So I'm not ruling it out at all. And I have started some groundwork. Um, so hopefully I can pick that up again after this fight and yeah, see how it goes.
Well, you got the fight coming up November 28th this weekend, a one night tournament. And I always love these one night tournaments, no matter what it is, Muay Thai, MMA. It just takes a unique individual to participate. And that's why I'm happy to speak with you ahead of the fights.
Thanks so much. And thanks so much for taking the opportunity, or giving me the opportunity to speak with you as well. It's much appreciated.